there, I'm Ranger Erin, and we're asking the question today, what is hibernation? You probably heard that word about animals during winter, because we've got a problem with animals surviving through winter in that during winter, there's not enough food, there's not enough heat, and there's not enough cover. So all the plants die back, and then you can't really sneak around without being seen very easily. So there's 3 different ways that our animals out here can deal with winter. And that first one is to just get really good at finding food, at being warm, and at sort of either being really fast or camouflaging with what's left. The second way that our animals can survive through winter is to just leave. So they're going to migrate. They're going to go someplace where there's more warmth, where there's more sunshine and more food and more cover. And then the last way is what we're going to talk about, which is just going to be to wait out winter. They're not going to go anywhere. They're not going to do anything. And if there's not enough food, they're not going to eat. If there's not enough warmth, they're just going to be cold. And if there's not enough cover, they're definitely not going to go out. So we're going to say that that's going to be our hibernation strategy. Because hibernating is when you're going to change your body so much so that your heart rate's going to drop, your temperature is going to go way down. You're only going to take a breath every so often, so it's going to be a long time in between breaths, sometimes as much as 5 minutes in between each breath. They're just going to do as little as possible so that they can just live off of the food stores that they have in their body. So in the fall time, right now, they are eating up as much as they can, putting on weight. That weight, that fat is going to be stored energy to get them through the winter. And that's the only food that they're going to have for the next few months. But gaining weight and getting fat for winter is not enough for these animals, because if you're just kind of have stored food on your body, but you're still moving around a lot, you're going to burn off that fat too quickly. It's not going to last you the months. So instead, they're going to find that nice, safe place, go into hibernation, and because they're moving so little and doing so little with their body, that fat is going to be able to last them all until spring. So they aren't going to have to move. They aren't going to have to stay warm through winter. So if you are doing this strategy of hibernating through winter, this is a little bit deeper than sleep. So if you were to find a sleeping animal, you could wake it up. But you probably wouldn't be able to wake up a hibernating animal because it's much deeper than sleep. So they are not aware of their surroundings at all, which means that if another animal were to find them while they're hibernating, they could end up being that animal's food for the winter. So they've got to find a safe place to stay. And they're going to find a hibernaculum. So that special word hibernaculum, that is the place that an animal finds shelter for the winter when they are hibernating. And they're going to try and make it as camouflaged and as warm as possible. So a lot of our animals that live on land, they're going to burrow down underneath the frost line. They're going to find a leaf pile. They're going to make it as hard to find and as warm as possible. If they're a water animal, a lot of those animals are going to go down to the very bottom of their lake or their creek, and they're just going to either burrow into the mud or they're going to rest right on top of the mud. But any way you go, if you go lower, you're going to be a little bit warmer. And some of our animals, like our frogs, are even going to allow themselves to get frozen during winter. Now, hibernation is kind of a special word that we use mostly just for our mammals, so our animals that have fur or hair. We do have some special words for our cold-blooded friends, like those reptiles and those frogs, when we call that brumation. And then we also have another word for our insects and our arachnids and our crustaceans, and that's diapause. Now from the outside, it all kind of looks the same. They're not moving very much. You wouldn't be able to wake them up if you could, but we have different words for them because they have very different bodies. So what's going on inside is a little bit different, so we actually have different words for those. On your hibernaculum hike, you're going to take a look around and try and spot some areas that you think would make a really great place to hibernate for the winter if you were an animal that wanted to hibernate. Look for holes in trees, look for leaf piles, or you can look for a hole in the ground. For your indoor activity, I'm going to ask you to find all of the blankets and pillows that you can in your house, and you're going to make yourself your own private little hibernaculum. Make it as cozy as you can, add all of your stuffed animals if you like, and then settle in and read a good book inside your cozy hibernaculum. Thanks for joining me. I'll catch you all next week.